Dr. Ranganathan also here. Dr. Ranganathan, what do you make of this? I've asked a very simple question. What do you make of the ED crackdown? It's not loaded at all. It's a simple question. I could have asked, for example, do you believe that there's a witch hunt against the Gandhis? I haven't asked the viewers that question. Why? Because then they would have had to look into the facts. And as I have read out the facts, that would have colored their judgment. I've not asked that question. I'm not asking any leady questions here. I'm only asking a simple, straightforward question. Is this crackdown justified? Dr. Ranganathan.
Good evening, Rahul. It is, first of all, it is not a crackdown. It is an investigation. Congress is making it out to be a crackdown. Look, National Herald scam is as open and shut as it gets. Yes, it is true that the Congress says there are no smoking guns. I agree. There are no smoking guns. There are smoking cannons. The whole artillery, smoking, in flames. Here is the brief summary, because people need to understand in very simple language. In 2008, National Herald newspaper that was launched by Jawaharlal Nehru in 1938 accumulated a debt of 90 crores because, quite frankly, no reader likes paying for fake news and propaganda. Congress offered 90 crore interest-free loan in quanta to the Associated Journals Limited running National Herald, but the attempt to bring back the newspaper failed. In 2010, Young India Limited was set up, in which Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi held a majority share of 76%. Now remember, Rahul, the Congress that had originally lent money to Associate Journals Limited now assigned the debt to Young India Limited, which meant that Associate Journals Limited had to pay back rupees 90 crores to Young India Limited. But because AJ Limited was not in a position to repay the loan, the company transferred its shareholding to Gandhi-owned Young India Limited, for which they received only 50 lakhs. Associated Journals Limited had real estate properties worth 2,000 crores, not only according to the then Law Minister, but also according to the trial court that has then been quoted by the High Court. Let me explain this by way of analogy. You, Rahul, though of another surname, praise the Lord, run into debt. Tehseen comes forward, and because he likes you and because he is filthy rich, lends you 90 crores. But unfortunately, that sum is not enough for you to tide over your debt. Tehseen tells you, forget about the 90 crores and asks you to sell to him your media house. You agree. Tehseen buys you out for 50 lakhs. The small print, of course, is that your media house, even though it was bankrupt, owned Lattian's property worth 2,000 crores. So I repeat, the Gandhis paid 50 lakhs allegedly to buy property worth 2,000 crores. Not only this, AJ Limited even took out a loan to buy property in Panchkula by giving Herald House as collateral. All this is going on. Now I have 4 simple questions for Tehseen, very simple questions. Yes and no. Number 1, what is the shareholding of Rahul and Sonia Gandhi in Young Indian? 2, does Young Indian now own Associated Journals? 3, what is the total worth of the properties owned by Associated Journals Limited? And 4, who gave 50 lakhs to Young Indian so that it could buy Associate Journals? Very simple 4 questions to Tehseen.
No, you actually forced me to ask another one, the 5th one. And this will land Tehseen in a little of hot water. Do you like me, Tehseen, or are you rich? I'm sure you don't like me, but you are rich.
I like you. Very rich. I like you very much. I like you very much, and I have a rich heart.
Okay.
My heart is rich.
So what he's saying is he likes me and he's filthy rich. When am I getting this sweetheart deal then? Tell me. You know, you can't tantalize me like this, Dr. Ranganathan. I am broke. You can't play to my weaknesses on my own show. Okay, nonetheless, let me bring in Tehseen on these questions. Tehseen, we've heard the very erudite Dr. Ranganathan. We've also heard the irrepressible anti-corruption crusader, Dr. Subramaniam Swamy. Both happen to be tambrams, but that is a qualification in itself, because they are laser sharp. That makes them laser sharp. They know how to move every piece on the chessboard. So I'm asking you, Tehseen Poonawalla, shareholders of Young Indians, who are they?
76% by the Gandhis, Rahul and Sonia ji.
It's on your screens, viewers, so I'm not lying.
Absolutely.
This is
absolutely true.
This is a Congress,
no doubt about it.
This is a Congress sympathizer, very closely linked to the Gandhi family, endorsing our first graphic on your screens. So this is fact. No one is fibbing here, as I said, viewers. Now, young Indians, do they own AJL? Yes or no?
Yes, they do. No doubt about it.
No doubt about it. What is the asset worth of AJL?
Could be in excess of 5,000 crores. Forget 2,000 crores.
5,000 crores.
Could be in excess.
Could be in excess.
Yeah.
Okay. How come then with 50 lakhs you get assets worth 5,000 crores and who gave you those 50 lakhs?
Great. Now, will you please allow me to answer and not interrupt me, because this is the crux of the issue. I endorsed all 3 points. If only my dear friend Anand Ranganathan, for whom I have a lot of respect, would have read the first paragraph of the AGL objective and the first paragraph of the Young Indians objective, which is similar. AGL cannot transfer one property to Young Indians. That's the first objectives of both the companies. Why? 2 reasons, Anand. One, Young Indian is a Section 25 not-for-profit company, so they can't take dividends as well, so property cannot be transferred. But more importantly, the 5,000 crore worth property, Anand, in Lucian's Delhi and etc. is not owned by AGL in the fact how Rahul has hundreds of thousands of crores, my friend on this channel. It is on lease. It's government property on lease. So you cannot sell it to repay your loan. Now, I just have one paragraph to make. Rahul, just one paragraph to me. When I cannot sell the property is not owned by me. Now, I know that you will read out some trial court issues which were income tax issues, nothing to do with the enforcement directorate. Please, the BJP spokesperson, don't interrupt me, but the BJP spokesperson, please tell me 2 very important facts. In the observation of the trial court on income tax that you read out, the schedule offences are 420, 120B. 420, 120B does not come as a schedule offence under enforcement directorate by itself. Number two. Please, sir, please.
Then you can go.
Sir, please.
Okay, one second.
Two technical
points he wants to answer. Then you can ask the next follow-up question. Okay. 1 second, Shehzad Poonawalla answering. Yeah, I'll give you that time, Dr. Ranganathan. Right after.
I have studied law. Let me clarify 2 points. In transfer property, there are 2 kinds: physically transferring it through the deed, and there is a beneficial ownership in a property that you may have control over, that gets transferred. That means you may have control over a property even though it's not in your name, but you acquire rent and other interests in it. That beneficial ownership was transferred, and therefore the Gandhis got the income from that property. They pocketed it and did not show it to the income tax, which the income tax highlighted, which was upheld by the High Court and Supreme Court. So the beneficial ownership, which is different from the transfer of a physical deed ownership, has taken place. Point number 2, dear Tehseen, just now the validity of Section 3 of PMLA has been upheld. The Section 3 of PMLA says that it is any proceeds of a criminal action, which includes actions under 420, 406, 120B, which are all scheduled offences under Section 3 of PMLA. By the way, money laundering does not mean money going in and out of the country. It also means fruits or proceeds of a crime, and therefore this has also been challenged by you in Supreme Court, and you have lost the battle on that challenge. So this very much makes a base offence for proceedings under the PMLA by the ED. And by the way, if this was not the case, Motilal Vora, others have been investigated under this. Your assets have been attached under this. If it was all under no legal provision, you could have challenged and got relief. Mr. Chidambaram got no relief on this.
Okay, Dr. Ranganathan wants to come in. Dr. Ranganathan wants to add, and then you can respond.
Yes, Tehseen, yes. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful. You know, Tehseen wouldn't mind this analogy or metaphor. You know, मैंने Tehseen का नमक खाया. He treated me to lunch, so I'm very grateful for that. लेकिन आज Tehseen, राहुल, वो आटा है जिसको मैं गूंदूंगा और शहजाद फिर ऐसे करके तंदूर में घुसाएगा. So let me start gundofying Tehseen, my good friend. Number 1, Tehseen hasn't answered who paid 50 lakhs to Young Indian Limited so that they could buy out Associated General. He hasn't answered it because he knows the people who paid are entrenched in Hawala. Number 1. Number 2, is it not a fact when Tehseen says the AJ properties are actually properties of the government? How on earth could they then buy out Panchkula property by using Herald House as a collateral? Government property को collateral रख के पंचकुला की property खरीदे. And number 3, just final question, Tehseen. Number 3, when you say that AJ is not for profit, it cannot sell the property, it is an agreement between AJ as well as Young Indian. Can it not in a court of law be annulled? Of course it can. These are the 3 questions, and over to Shehzad.
Can I be allowed to reply? Can I be allowed to reply, Rahul?
Yeah.
Very important questions raised. Yeah. डॉक्टर रंगनाथन, आपने मेरा नमक खाया, मैंने आपको दिल दिया है, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली आपकी रोटियां जल गई और पूरी तरह से जल गई. You stick to steam baturas, and I'll tell you why, Dr. Ranganathan. The 50 lakhs, no, I'm telling you it's 1 crore. It came from a company called Dotex. Who owns this company? The Goenka Group. Now, please allow me, doctor. Please allow me. Is it the stand of the Bharatiya Janata Party or you, Dr. Ranganathan, that a Goenka company is a shell company, a Hawala company? Just because ED gets out fake press releases does not make it a Hawala company. If it was, they should have taken action against Goenka Ji. They haven't. It's not a shell company. It's owned by Goenka Group. I'm saying this times now. Rahul, please fact check me. Ask your team behind to fact check me. Second thing, Rahul, yes, you're right. The Panchkula property was got by putting Herald House as one of the collaterals. However, that was for the objective of running the newspaper, and the newspaper has since then started. So the objective of running came in. One second, please.
He said it has not yet started.
Please. Can I? Come on. That's not fair. Anand, that's not fair. Let's not trivialize it. So Panchkula came with Herald House, which was a leased property where newspaper ran, and next second newspaper started, or second edition of that newspaper
Can I ask
started.
you, were the proceeds of all the rent that was charged after letting out the properties in Herald House, were they diligently served up before the income tax authorities? Were they
That's
the proceeds?
See, it's Young India and is a Section 25 company. No dividend can go home. All the proceeds is a matter in income tax, not under Enforcement Directorate. The judgment Shehzad quotes from is income tax, which is not a criminal offence, and that is a tax dispute, I concede. And that is, one second, Shehzad, please. Okay, that's a dispute. But I have one paragraph to say. One second. They've challenged income tax. But I have one paragraph to say, and I'll end. Just one paragraph. This is specially dedicated to the BJP. बांधने कांग्रेस को तू आया है, जंजीर बड़ी क्या लाया है?
Okay, now all this, look, let's set this aside. ये सब शेरा शावरी बंद कीजिए, sir. Let's get into the shares, the real shares. शेयर को बंद कीजिए, शेयर को चलाइए.